all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. And on the technical side, we are now joined by Mr. Ruchit Jain, Vice President Equity Technical Research at Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Ruchit, afternoon, and thanks so much for taking your time out. And HDFC Tech is the first stock on your radar this afternoon. Tell us, what do charts indicate for this one?
Yeah, hi, very good afternoon. Well, we have seen that the IT stocks have seen a good positive momentum, especially the large cap names since last couple of trading sessions. So HDFC Tech has seen a long consolidation. The 20-day MA is now acting as a support, and it's on the verge of a breakout of this consolidation, which would be about 1725 to 730. So I believe that this should be one stock within the large cap IT space which should be there on the watch list. And if the stock manages to surpass that 1730 mark, then one can expect a good run-up move in the short term in HCL Tech.
Coming in on HCL Tech, but let's put the spotlight on HDFC Life then. This one is in focus because Antique met with the management of the company, and they've come out with a report which highlights the key takeaways and what the management believes the outlook could look like for the company. They say regulatory concerns and competitive prices seem to be receding for the company. They reiterated their aspiration to grow their APE ahead of industry average and to double their VNB every 4 to 4.5 years. Antique, in fact, maintains they've not revised their FY26 and 27 APE and VNB estimates. They are maintaining their buy stance on the stock with a target price of 860. They reiterate that HDFC Life is their top pick from the insurance sector. So on the back of this report that has come in, and on the back of some important management commentary, HDFC Life is holding on with gains of over 2.5% today.
Alright, that's HDFC Life in focus today with gains of more than 2.5%. But coming to you, Ruchit, Max Health is what you picked out for us. Tell us on the charts, what do you see for Max Health? Max Health is it's almost trading at its 52-week high. From here on, where do you see this stock headed?
So in spite of the a bit of pullback boom in the broader markets, we have seen that this has been one of the stocks which has shown a relative outperformance. After a consolidation of about 2 months, the stock gave a breakout on Friday's trading session itself, and you can see that last 2-3 days the volumes are quite good along with the breakout. Stock is around its all-time high, so expecting a continuation of the momentum towards 1280, 1300 kind of levels. So even at current levels, one can attempt fresh longs with stop loss below 1200 for potential targets around 1300 in the near term.
All right, moving on then. In focus today is the aircraft stock Indigo, that's in focus today, flying high with gains of 1.5% on the back of a note by Jefferies. Now Jefferies is maintaining a buy rating on Indigo with a target price of 6,300 rupees. Now the management, they say, has reiterated strong long-term tailwinds for aviation growth in India. Now Indigo is maintaining cost leadership and timely fleet orders, particularly amid sector consolidation. Now international segment is a key driver for the growth, supported by new fleet additions and expanding the routes. The company is expanding its geographical footprint and customer base through recent strategic initiatives. On the back of that, Jefferies is positive on Indigo, and on the back of that, Indigo right now trading at the highest point of the day with gains of 1.5%.
Okay, so the stock is holding on to gains, but Sun Pharma, this stock is also in focus on the back of some US FDA action. Rabinder, tell us, what is the news flow here?
Well, as Sun Pharma is in focus, the US FDA has conducted a good manufacturing practices inspections of Sun Pharmaceutical Limited's Halol facility, Gujarat, from June 2 to June 13, 2025. And at the conclusion of the inspection, the US FDA issued a Form 483 with 8 observations. So back of this, Sun Pharma is in focus, and the stock is down 0.5% in today's trading session.
All right, moving on then. Ruchit, you picked out Apollo Hospital for us. Tell us, what do you see on the charts for Apollo Hospitals?
Well, technically the stock has given a breakout from a symmetrical triangle pattern today. Last 2 months the stock had consolidated within a range in which its important 200-day moving average supports were intact, and today we have seen a breakout from this consolidation. So we expect the stock to go higher in the near term towards 7,350 to 7,300 range. So the risk reward ratio also seems favorable, where we could see a good up move in the stock in the short term after the recent consolidation.
Okay, so that's the word coming in on Apollo Hospitals, but IREDA, the stock is also in focus based on news flow. Kanishka, tell us. That's right. IREDA is in focus because the Ahmedabad bench of NCLT has admitted its insolvency plea filed by IREDA against Gensol Engineering that happened after market hours on Friday. Now, the NCLT has directed for initiation of insolvency proceedings against the company. The petition pressed for urgent oversight, stating that Gensol has effectively become headless after its top leaders exited amid ongoing regulatory scrutiny. The tribunal has also directed for the appointment of an interim resolution professional, that is IRP, to take over the management and operations of Gensol Engineering. Remember, in April, IREDA had initiated an internal review as well with regards to its exposure to Gensol Engineering and its issues surrounding its promoters and associated companies. Against the backdrop of this news flow, the stock is up about 0.5% in trade today. Okay, so that's it for you, but shifting focus to Nazara Tech, then the stock has recovered from the lowest point of the day, but despite that, sitting on with some marginal amount of gains in today's trading session. Now, there's some important and big news piece over here. Estate of late Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has offloaded entire stake in Nazara Technology. About 3% equity changed hands on Friday. Rekha Jhunjhunwala sold more than 3% stake on Friday. And over a period of 3 or 4 trading sessions between the 9th of June and 12th of June, the entire 5% stake was sold by the estate of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. So on the back of that block deal and on the back of those transactions that took place last week, Nazara Tech continues to be in focus today.
Alright, moving on to the next counter that is in focus today, and that is IndusInd Bank, where Citi is maintaining a sell rating on the bank with a target price of 700 rupees. Now, they feel that the reviews and investigations, internal and external, have concluded and the findings have been submitted to the board. And the measures have been implemented to prevent the erroneous tagging in microfinance loans. Operationally, there is no disruption on the ground and the deposit book has stabilized post the March outflow. However, the contractual repayments and the bulk deposit redemptions are likely to exceed the new deposit inflows. Now, the net interest margins may be pressured due to the excess liquidity and reduced exposure to high-yielding assets, and there is a scope to reduce deposit rates given the supply liquidity and the fee income remains stable despite cutting high-cost fee components. But Citi is maintaining a sell rating on the bank. On the back of that, IndusInd is in focus today. Currently, IndusInd, like all the other banking names that are surging in trade right now, IndusInd Bank is also buoyed by that and is trading with gains of 0.7% right now.
Okay, so Citi note, and that is why IndusInd Bank is in focus today. But shifting focus to Indian Bank, then today it is up nearly 1.5%, 1.6% to be precise. Ruchit, 634. Where do you see the stock headed from here on? 700 on the card?
Well, the chart setups are quite interesting because what we have seen that this has been one of the PSU banks where the relative strength has been quite strong. In spite of the entire consolidation that we have seen in other PSU banking space, the stock is trading around its 52-week high. The dips that are around the 20-day are getting bought into, so the downside seems to be very limited from here on. And considering that outperformance within the sector, yes, we expect the stock to head higher towards 670, 680 at least in the near term. So Indian Bank, I think, is poised to continue its outperformance.
All right, moving on from another banking name now. Rabindra, you have picked up Singin for us. Tell us, what do you see? What is the news flow here for Singin?
Singin International is in focus. The company has received EIR from US FDA for routine GMP inspection held at Bangalore facility from Feb 10 to 20, 2025, and the ER concluded the inspection outcomes as a voluntary action indicated VAI, and the US FDA has reviewed and accepted Singin's responses and corrective preventive action CAPA plan submitted in the response to the inspection findings. Apart from this, the US FDA has conducted a GCP inspection at Singin Semicon Park facility from June 9 to 13, 2025, which concluded successfully with zero Form 483 observation and a NAI no action needed classification. So back of this, Singin International is in focus and the stock is up approx 1%.
Okay, so Singin is holding up with gains of nearly 1%, but L&T Finance, Ruchit, why have you picked up this stock for us? On a year-to-date basis, the stock is up a whopping 39%, but how much more upside could we see?
Yeah, so recently we have just seen that this has been one of the NBFC space which has seen a high top, high bottom structure and has shown a good outperformance when the broader markets were into some consolidation phase. And I think the correction that we have seen in last 3 or 4 trading sessions, the prices have managed to take support around its 20-day exponential moving average and seem to have resumed its trend. I think positionally around 205 to 210 is where the stock would see an up move. So 180 has become the strong support base now. Till that is intact, 210 seems to be on the cards.
All right, moving on then from L&T Finance. Kanishka, you picked out NTPC for us. Tell us what is the news flow for NTPC?
That's right. NTPC is in focus today because the resolution plan submitted by the Maharashtra State Power Generation and NTPC Consortium for Sinnar Thermal Power has been approved by the Committee of Creditors. Now, apart from that, the state-run power producer has also announced that it has started commercial operations at the Unit 3 of North Karanpura Super Thermal Power Project. This unit has a capacity of 660 megawatts. Now, against the back of these two news pieces, the stock is up about 0.5% in trade today.
Okay, so that's NTPC for you, but we before we slip into a very short break, we have some important updates that have come in. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 4-nation tour. We have some visuals coming in from there. In fact, Prime Minister Modi is speaking. Let's go across and listen into what he has to say.
सम्मान और समर्थन इस भावनाओं को जीवंत रखा है। हम एक दूसरे की संप्रभुता और क्षेत्रीय अखंडता का सम्मान करते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, 2 दशक से भी लंबे अंतराल के बाद किसी भारतीय प्रधानमंत्री की साइप्रस यात्रा हो रही है और ये आपसी संबंधों में एक नया अध्याय लिखने का एक स्वर्णिम अवसर है। आज राष्ट्रपति जी और मैंने द्विपक्षीय संबंधों के सभी पहलुओं पर व्यापक चर्चा की। साइप्रस के विजन 2035 और विकसित भारत 2047 के विजन के कई पहलुओं में समानता है। इसलिए हम साथ मिलकर भविष्य को आकार देंगे। अपनी साझेदारी को स्ट्रैटेजिक दिशा देने के लिए हम अगले 5 वर्षों के लिए एक ठोस रोडमैप बनाएंगे। रक्षा और सहयोग को और मजबूती देने के लिए द्विपक्षीय डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन प्रोग्राम के तहत रक्षा उद्योग पर बल दिया जाएगा। साइबर और मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी पर अलग से डायलॉग शुरू किया जाएगा। क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म के विरुद्ध भारत की लड़ाई में साइप्रस के सतत समर्थन के लिए हम बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं। आतंकवाद, ड्रग्स और आर्म्स की तस्करी की रोकथाम के लिए हमारी एजेंसीज के बीच रियल टाइम इंफॉर्मेशन एक्सचेंज का मैकेनिज्म तैयार किया जाए।
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा।
On the charts, what do you see for Oberoi? Because this one has been, in the last 1 month has been soaring in trade, up 14.5% in just 1 month. Tell us from here on, do you see this positive momentum to continue?
Yes, I believe that it's not only Oberoi Realty, but many of the names from the realty sector are showing signs of continuation of the positive trend. So primarily, after that interest rate cuts that we have seen, we have witnessed a very good price volume action in some of the realty space. Oberoi Realty recently gave a breakout above its 200-day moving average and has been forming a high top, high bottom structure, indicating a continuation of this uptrend. So you may see an up move getting continued towards 2050 kind of levels in the near term. The 20-day support is placed around 1820, 1830. So we're keeping a stop loss below that support level. One can ride this uptrend for potential targets around 2050 to 21.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on Oberoi Realty, but let's put the spotlight on Bata. Economic Times has reported, citing sources, that Bata's global CEO Sandeep Kataria has resigned after a period of 5 years, and succession plans are currently underway. In fact, the report also says that he was the first Indian to lead the footwear giant, and now Kataria will stay for another 6 months to help with the transition, but later will be resigning. An official comment from the company is awaited, but for now, on the back of this news piece, Bata India is in focus today.
All right, moving on then to the next counter. OMGC is what you picked out for us. Now on the back of the ongoing geopolitical tensions and the surge in the oil prices, OMGC and Oil India, both shares are up almost. Were up 3%, which has given up those gains. But these oil counters are in focus, Ruchit. So, but on the charts, what do you see for OMGC?
Yes, I think a couple of things. One is the recent rise in the oil prices that we have seen have led to good buying interest in these upstream oil companies. And secondly, if you look at OMGC, this has been one of the stocks which has already seen a good price-wise correction from its high since the month of October 24. And along with the broader markets, we have not seen any kind of significant up move so far in stocks such as OMGC. The stock has recently surpassed this 200 DMA, so the risk from a risk-reward ratio perspective, I think that the downside from here, from current levels, seems to be very limited, and we could see a good gradual up move in the stock towards 275 kind of levels. So it's a good for one can buy the stock and keep some patience from a positional perspective. We expect a slow and gradual up move considering the favorable risk-reward ratio in OMGC.
All right, moving on then from OMGC to Kotak Mahindra Bank, that's in focus today. In fact, it is one of the top gainers as far as the banking names are concerned today, trading with gains of 1.3%. It is on the back of a note by Goldman Sachs that is reiterating its buy call with an upside of 17% on Kotak Mahindra Bank. They feel the changing gears in FY26, their strategy on maintaining in profitability, to deliver on growth as they have guided. The bank has also delivered strong ROAs supported by better NIM management, and the margins are likely to face a bit of a near-term pressure, though the decline in the deposit cost is likely to offer support. And on the back of that, they're maintaining a buy call on Kotak Mahindra Bank, and on the back of that, Kotak Mahindra Bank is up in a way 1.3%.
But another stock that is shining bright in today's trading session is Staite Tech. In fact, the stock is up a whopping 13%. It has now crossed that 94 rupee per share mark. Rabinder, tell us what is brewing here.
Well, Staite Tech is in focus. The company has announced the launch of a new generation of data center solution ranging from a cabling to end-to-end connectivity offerings designed to power the relentless demand of AI-driven data centers infrastructure. And this new AI solution is engineered to meet the exact requirements of hyperscalers, co-locations players, enterprises, and telecom service provider to build agile, scalable, and sustainable data center infrastructure. So, back of this stock is holding a gain of more than 12 to 13%.
Staite Tech holding up with gains of nearly 13% on the back of that. But let's shift focus to Yes Bank then. And international credit agency Moody's has upgraded the rating of Yes Bank to BA2 from BA3. And it has also changed its outlook to stable due to improvement in its credit profile. The firm has also upgraded the private lender's baseline credit assessment to BA3 from BA1, and Yes Bank BA2 deposit ratings are now one notch above its BA3 basement credit assessment based on expectation of a moderate likelihood of support from the Government of India. So on the back of this, the stock is in focus today and it is gaining nearly 0.8% as we speak.
All right, with that, we're completely timed out on this edition of Market Fatafat. Ruchit, Kanishka and Rabinder, thank you so much for joining us and giving us all the stocks in focus. But with that, it's a wrap. Ashish and I will take your leave. Thank you so much for tuning in.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा।